face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods, everybody. My name is Rivers Langley,
Hi, everyone. I'm Pat Riley.
and joining us on mic 3, our good friend.
Joe Raines, everyone.
Yeah, neighbor Joe's back. We're sitting here.
And that's the kind of quality you get for $5 a month on Patreon.
Oh no, this is a free app. This is a free app. I
Oh,
think.
really?
I'll probably put my shirt back on then.
But yeah, we've gathered some of the gang here at Disgraceland. It's the holidays. I don't know where the fuck Carter went. Actually, truth be told, Sam I believe is in Texas. But yeah, we're here at Disgraceland, and Pat, you came to me with this concept.
Yeah.
Specifically, that you had made a chili that can't be beat.
You know, it's one of those things where the chili is kind of tangential to it. So you're going to go home with your family, presumably, or
Yeah.
not. You know, you're going to be off of work or what have you. And you're going to make a lot of meals, and this is about holiday food. This is the way I'm looking at it is that it's the stuff that's not Christmas dinner or whatever you celebrate.
Sure.
The main event. This is the kind of stuff that fills in, and that can be really tough, especially if you're around family. You're feeding a lot of people, especially people with very limited palates. Usually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, usually it's what happens. Like one time I came home. Like one time when I was
the rubes, the dum dums,
Where's the cheese? Where's the cheese?
the unwashed masses.
So so like for example, and this is my fault for being like
What, you don't like brie, Uncle Jack?
yeah. Well, this is my fault for being a college. When I was in college,
College.
college. Yeah, I mean that's the best way to describe it. A college.
I get it.
So like when I went home, I was visiting my parents, and I was like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna make meal for you." And I've been watching a lot of Top Chef
Yeah.
because I was living in Atlanta. You have the Yorta Cab Farmers Market there,
Oh Christ.
where
yeah.
you could get like lots of just awesome food and just like a weird range of it, where you just come
And-
back.
DeKalb County Farmers Market has the buffet.
Yeah.
I've done terrible things to my body.
Oh, I
at
have
DeKalb
too.
County
I mean,
Farmers Market.
I've definitely.
Shout out.
Dude, Joe, I know for a fact Joe is a man who loves a samosa. Dude, I mean, you just,
I have no problem being the guy who's like, hey, the samosas out because I got 8 of them. You should probably bring some more out because I'm going to get some more later. So let's just all have samosas.
Joe's a samosa machine and a human samosa,
Samosa machine.
Why is that hard to say?
No, I've definitely put up $25 on that, like
Yeah.
that buffet. I've done.
It's one of them places where you load up your plate and then they weigh the plate and that's how much they charge you. But they
Forget
do
the plates, man. I just use the tray, dude. I'll just put
Is that allowed?
Sure, why not?
But yeah, they got good ass samosas.
Oh, they
there.
got good everything, and then you just go there and you get curious, and you're like, "Yeah, I got myself some frog's legs and a Buddha's hand, and just like all sorts of fenugreek. I don't know what you use fenugreek in,
yeah.
So I was watching. So I was like, really into cooking and stuff, and I came home and I was like way too into watching Top Chef. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm gonna make you a meal, and I made like cream of mushroom soup and scallops and stuff. But I didn't make it was like
Wait, you made cream of mushroom soup?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's dedication.
my dad just like crapped all over it. He was just like, "What is this? Some of that Nouvelle cuisine?" Because I think that's something he learned in like the 1980s, and like every food he doesn't understand that's like highbrow is like, "What's that Nouvelle
Wait,
cuisine?"
What is Nouvelle?
I think it was.
I don't know if I know that reference.
It was a movement. So it was like a movement in French cooking for like minimalism and stuff.
okay.
Like gastronomical. It was like a gastronomical sort of oriented thing, and I think like it was in that kind of track that went away from classic French cooking into more like experimental French cooking.
Okay.
Which like kind of hit its like apex with just like, here's a plate of reductions, and foams and stuff.
Foams. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but anything that isn't just like meat and spuds, it's Nouvelle cuisine.
Okay.
I would punch somebody in the face if they handed me a bowl of foam.
Foam.
Yeah.
Here's a bowl of foam, Joe. Oh, I mean,
Here's
What
a
if it's but it's a bunch of foams to choose from? There's egg foam. There's celery foam.
Yeah, and you use bread,
Beet-
some bread foam. to
Beet
pick it
foam.
up.
Well, no, bread is foam.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But no, so everything is so. Sometimes if you do something a little bit weird at home, you might like turn off some people at home. So what this is about is what you can make at home. Some
Sure.
recipes, some crowd pleasers, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then we can throw in some random potpourri here. And I came equipped, as Rivers mentioned, with the end of the chili that I made,
Which I just
couple of days
took
ago.
a bite of, and it is tremendous. It is absolutely
Yeah,
delicious.
thank you.
Some of the
Thank
best,
you.
some of the best chili I've ever had, honestly. Because the thing with chili,
Oh, that's good.
It's-
Thanks.
it's strong.
I could smell it, and I already knew it was going to taste good by the smell. But there's a little spice on the back end that makes it extra good.
Yep. There's it seems like
That's
there's
good stuff.
Is there
Thanks, man.
Is there like cheese integrated in this? In any way? Okay, wow.
No. It's pretty low gimmicks.
Wow.
So I can give my chili. See, my thing is is that there's those people that turn chili. There's like two directions it can go in, right? You have like your chili purists. You know, like the people
Yeah.
from Texas, they're just like, it's meat and suet. And you got to grind your own chilies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that sort of thing where there's
cow better have had a name.
yeah, like it's the people that are like barbecue purists that are
Sure.
just over the top, where they're just like, you cannot put sauce on this, otherwise, whatever.
Pat, that made me feel things. That's good.
Thanks. So good.
So yeah, chili. And then there's the other side where it's like people that throw like weird stuff in there, like corn, and
Yeah, I mean,
Are onions allowed? Is that
onions. I sense that they are. I don't
Yeah.
know. Because it's like there's certain people that make chili that's like they throw all sorts of weird stuff in there, or they don't like. It's basically just like meat sauce.
sure.
Yeah. Where it's just like,
and this is a meaty
Yes.
ass chili.
Yeah.
very, very good? Very
where they throw
good.
like all sorts of gimmicks in there, like cocoa powder and corn and things like that. So gonna throw out my chili recipe.
Hell yeah.
Which I feel weird because this is a free episode, not a Patreon episode.
Oh boy.
But all right, so here's the chili, right? So you get bacon, right?
Yeah.
What I use typically are the ends that they sell at Trader Joe's because it's all fat. Like most of it's just fat, and that's what you
Yeah.
need.
The whole bag is white. Like,
Yeah.
it is it's a what do you call it when you suck the air out of it?
Vacuum sealed.
Vacuum sealed bag of fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Allegedly, there's bacon in there. But
Yeah,
it's
there's
white.
some. It's like a smattering. Like it's 75% fat and 25% bacon, which for these purposes is great. So you cut it up, throw it in there, fry it a little bit, and then you put like a pound and a half of ground beef. Usually I use like 85-15. Some people try and get like exotic where they're just like, because I've in college we'd have like chili cook-offs and stuff, and it would be a thing where people would be like, oh, the more expensive stuff I throw. So they throw like elk and like bison and all this sort of stuff. I knew one guy that like bought a ribeye, like a real nice
wow.
ribeye, and cut it up, and she's like, what are you doing? You know?
I would actually I would try this, whatever the recipe is. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
And at some point,
Yeah.
I usually have access to a tremendous amount of ground deer meat.
Yeah.
So
I would say this would make the best chili cheese dogs of all time, but it would like
the hot
it would
dog
be
is
insult.
beneath it.
Yeah, it would insult this chili to put it on a hot dog.
What are your feelings on beans and chili? Because I'm in a house divided.
Yeah,
I'm not
Yeah.
for it or against it.
Same here. I'm
not
agnostic.
for it or against it, but my wife is just like, it's not chili if it doesn't have beans.
Yeah.
But if I was from Texas, I'd be like, listen, because that's like something they.
Well, we have our friend of the show of the Boogie Monster podcast, Dave Stone.
Yeah.
He makes a mean chili, but here's his thing with beans. He likes the taste, but not the texture. So he purees the beans.
Really?
Oh my!
So,
Fascinating.
Yeah. We went to the Super Bowl over his place one year, and yeah, he makes a good chili, but he kind of splits the baby.
So you do 2 pounds of ground beef, salt and pepper it, brown it, scoop it out like with a spoon so you can retain as much, not all the fat, but some of the fat,
Sure.
and you get the juices as well. And then you pour out the excess fat. And then after that, you put the pan back on, 1 onion, 1 diced jalapeno, brown it a bit, and then you go half a can of tomato sauce, 1 teaspoon of tomato paste, and then you make beef broth, but instead of using water, you use a stout. So you use about 12 ounces of stout. Don't put it all in at once. Do about like 8 ounces of it, and then you mix beef bouillon in that.
What kind of stout did you use?
I used some whatever one was at on sale at Trader Joe's. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to
Definitely,
get
but
too
don't use
crazy.
the ones that are on sale right now. They all have chocolate in them.
Yeah, you can roll with the chocolate because it does kind of have like a mole sort of tinge to it,
yeah.
which is cool. But you just put like kind of bouillon in like a better than like the stuff in a jar, not the cubes.
Sure.
And then you throw in a packet of Goya Saison powder and 4 tablespoons of New Mexico chili powder. You can get that stuff on Amazon for get a big thing of it for $10.
Nice.
You could do this vegetarian actually. Instead of like regular ground beef, you can do the Beyond Burger stuff. And instead of bacon, use vegetarian suet. Get that on Amazon. And then instead of liquid smoke, which is garbage, I hate liquid smoke so much, I can see through that. I can see it through it like the Invisible Man. Use smoked salt.
Oh, okay.
Smoked salt's better. So 12 ounces of stout with the bouillon in it. Use 8 ounces, pour it in the pan. Packet of Saison, you simmer that for an hour, all right, separate from the meat. When the hour elapses, you put the meat in, you put the beans in if you want, and then you do a half a tablespoon of Mexico chili powder and then a half of tablespoon of chipotle powder. Let that simmer for 30, and then after that, and this is the big thing, a lot of people put cumin in early on. And that fucks things up. Like, it basically turns into a situation where it just gets too cumin-y. And
overwhelming, yeah.
Yeah. So you do 2 tablespoons of cumin, simmer for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes, you throw in some lime juice and simmer for 30 more.
Damn.
So it takes about 2.5 hours roughly to
Yeah.
of cooking time, and then preparation. It's like 30 minutes.
Did you-
3 hours later, you get chili.
Is this a recipe like you've like over the years perfected, or
I tweaked it. Yeah.
because that is a whole lot of making moves in the kitchen.
Thanks. But it's like there's times where people just get crazy with it, and it's unnecessary.
I just killed my bowl. That was so fucking good.
That one time I did a chili cook-off, and like my friends,
Who's running these chili cook-offs?
My friend Todd ran them at his house.
Okay. These are private chili cook-offs.
Yeah, these are like private. These are salons, dude.
This is where the intellectual
imitation
This
only.
is a salon, man. And my buddy,
we talk politics and cumin.
my buddy Buckner you met Buckner of
I
the
did.
original D-Land. So Buckner's dad used to just send him like frozen deer meat, just like socks of them. I
Yeah.
don't know
Oh, yeah.
where, like, if he worked on a ranch or if he was friends with Joe Rogan or something like that. But they just like,
Is Joe Rogan a hunter now?
he's really into elk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Just
Why is that guy so fucking weird?
he did too many drugs and he sits in a salt tank.
I've done a lot of drugs. I've done DMT. I've done all the weird stuff he talks about. I don't have any urge for elk.
I think
But you don't have money.
bingo. It's a
Oh,
combination
yes,
of drugs.
yes.
See, if you're
drugs
an,
and
if
money.
you're an
Yeah.
announcer for UFC and was getting that UFC money,
Yep.
you'd just be into all sorts of stuff.
That's actually probably true.
Yeah,
I would
just
be
like,
eccentric as hell if I was.
Yeah,
rich.
it's just like I'm sick, so I'm gonna like mainline some bee venom or something like that. So they like burnt all the. So they put like 4 pounds of elk in there, and they burnt it.
Oh,
and they were
Jesus.
just like, screw it, and they just like threw in like tomato ketchup and like all this weird stuff to make the
Ugh.
worst chili they possibly could.
Oh no.
And they sabotaged the chili cook-off. The last one I did, I totally messed up because my brain had a short circuit and I got cinnamon confused with cumin.
Oh Jesus.
And I accidentally made Cincinnati Skyline chili, which is nothing good. Man.
Shout out to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, people from Ohio swear by it.
I've
but
never
it's just
tried
like-
it, but I'm coming
It's
to.
mind you. The only times I've had it was like somebody had a can of Skyline chili. So
Yeah.
chili
Oh,
out of a can is
yeah.
always like a,
So
a
there's-
dicey affair. And then I also got it at the Cincinnati North Kentucky airport.
Oh, God.
And that was a bad plane flight.
They put cinnamon in their chili.
Yeah, they put cinnamon and like cocoa powder in it,
Yeah,
but like the
gross.
sweetened cocoa powder, not like the
Gross,
unsweet
gross,
kind.
gross,
That's
gross.
like a-
And they put it on
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a.
Everything about that is disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm coming to Cincinnati hopefully in the spring. So
That sounds like somebody was just trying to like gross somebody out and just kept upping the ante.
People do some wild stuff. Like Barack Obama would make chili and put it on rice.
Actually,
It's like-
sounds good.
But it was like
Yeah.
meat sauce. Like the way he made it was like what I said. It's almost like meat sauce.
yeah. But he lived in like Indonesia. That sounds like some Indonesia
that
kind of
does.
stuff.
It's like kind of a fusion.
I was gonna say if their food's similar to Filipino food, that sounds very 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 similar. But
Fusion is in, baby.
yeah.
if anybody out
Fusion foams, dude.
there, fusion foams.
I want some of that Kogi foam.
If anybody's listening in Cincinnati, please tweet at me at Rivers Langley and tell me what's like the gnarliest chili because I want to try it. I want to try while I'm there, baby. I'm trying everything. So,
Well, I mean
hit me up.
that region's into some weird stews. Like in Kentucky, they have this stuff called burgoo, which is like
You have my full attention.
Yeah, no, I don't know what's in burgoo like.
Mostly
technically,
boogers.
But it's like I think like squirrels in it. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
It's one of those things where it's like every canned thing in your pantry. And
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
you just
yeah.
throw it in a big pot and then you throw some.
I'm
sort
not
of
afraid. I would eat squirrel.
various meats.
If you had squirrel right now, I would eat it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
squirrel's
Yeah.
okay. I've had
Why
squirrel
not?
before. Yeah, I'm from Florida, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, so that's chili. So if you want to, and you could do it vegetarian, man. And you know, a lot of people when they do vegetarian chili, they throw like zucchini and stuff in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I know.
Don't do that. They, the horizons of fake meat
I was gonna say
have progressed so far. There's so much venture capital money involved in
right,
this.
right, yeah.
That you just do beans, Beyond Meat, and you're good, man.
What is the most important thing in making burgoo is you have to have 3 meats. Now, in the olden days up in Kentucky, to make a burgoo, to have the 3 meats, it could have been anything. Cottontail, squirrel, pheasant, quail, chucker, anything. Wild turkey, but you have to have 3 different meats to make a true burgoo.
What are some foods that are traditional in the Rains household, Joe?
Traditional foods. Well, we always made my aunt's lasagna recipe.
Ooh, we got a tweet about some Italian food, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. Like the guy was talking about manicotti. Danny Palumbo made one of the best manicottis I've ever
so
had
good,
for
yeah.
Thanksgiving. That was so good.
So we had a comedian friendsgiving over at Joe's place, and comedian Danny Palumbo showed up with manicotti, and we were all like, okay, and you know. It's not a thing you think about at Thanksgiving, but damn, when it shows up,
good as fuck.
God, it was so good.
So like the first time I ever had manicotti, I commanded my mother, I need manicotti because I was like watching Garfield and Friends, and I was mega into Garfield when I was 7.
Yeah.
And he was talking about manicotti. I'm like, Garfield eats manicotti. I need some manicotti right now.
7-year-olds
And we ended
hate
up-
Mondays.
Yeah. And oh man, I wolfed down an entire Stouffer's manicotti, just like my hero Garfield.
Yeah, this is our friend Brian from Montana at card_a_aholic.
Yes.
He says, I'm a non-traditional holiday meal type. I used to go all Italian, have all the friends over, lasagna, manicotti, cannelloni, Italian sausage. Now it's prime rib I share with my dogs and veggies. All of that sounds great.
And that's good for like mass groups of people.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Or just by yourself. I'll sit down and eat a lasagna. I'm not scared. I'm ready to meet Jesus.
Yeah.
We would always do I'm from Alabama, as I'm sure everyone knows on this thing. But we would always do just down home Southern stuff. If it wasn't like traditional holiday stuff, like you're talking about when we come down and it's before the meal was served, it's stewed roast beef. Casseroles were big in my house, so every kind of casserole you can name, pork chops, all the stuff that makes you obese. That's what we would do.
Yeah.
And then if my dad was in charge, it was sandwiches.
Sandwiches? What? He's like, fuck it, we're doing sandwiches.
Yeah, well, growing up, that was big. My dad was big into sandwiches.
Yeah.
And as an adult now, I am too, so I get it, because it's like, that's so much. Let's just eat a fucking sandwich.
Open face sandwiches.
No, just
Dads are
regular
really into
sandwich.
open face sandwiches.
My dad did love to turn every kind of leftover there was into
Into a sandwich.
No, into like hash on the skillet. Like, oh, there's some
yeah.
whatever left over. Let's make a hash. And it's like, you're just putting in a skillet. Was that what hash is? I don't know what's happening.
What do you like? Would it be like cut with like potatoes or just
Sometimes, like if
just
we had
throw it in
like
there?
leftover mashed potatoes, they get thrown in there too. Like honestly, I just think he was just warming it up. But my
Yeah.
dad was a good cook. His meatloaf and mashed potatoes is bomb as fuck.
Ooh,
so.
there we go. Yeah, I was. After our Friendsgiving a couple weeks ago, I pretty much spent the next week just making sandwiches out of the leftovers. So I get it. It was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
let's-
One of those good green bean casserole sandwiches.
Yeah, well, you get the you just put down the turkey as a base, and then whatever other shit you got goes on top. So obviously, cranberry sauce, mac and cheese, whatever.
I mean,
I'm
you
waiting
gotta-
for Boston Market to get on that, where it's just like everybody's just like, oh, we're going for the chicken sandwich. I'm going for the leftover sandwich here in Boston.
I mean, that would be good as hell.
Leftover
I feel like a lot of the Southern cuisines making it around. Like hot chicken just became a thing in LA. And
it's everywhere.
and it's
now.
everywhere now. It's like,
Yeah.
guys, it's like, all right, whatever. But like some Southern
Well,
food
I mean, you
needs
got
to
to
make
have
it.
something to serve in the old poke bowl restaurant.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go,
no.
yeah.
That honestly, well, I rode that wave for a minute because I was at the 2013 version of that, which was grilled cheese sandwich restaurants,
Yeah.
and then all the grilled cheese sandwich places were replaced by poke bowls, and now all the poke bowls are giving way to hot chicken. So
Yeah, cupcakes were in the mix before, I think.
the
grilled cheese.
The grilled cheese place I worked at was probably a cupcake place before that.
What's next, do you think?
Well, what's like really specific to an area that we don't have here that's good as fuck?
Doses.
What's that?
What'd you say?
Like doses, like Indian doses, I think.
Oh, I thought you meant like acid. I was like, well, we have to get it legal first, but then yes, doses. By the way, at Unex Photography, he said, holidays just aren't holidays without a banana pudding. And I said, hallelujah to that.
Oh yeah, but I'm a pure like. The chili was amazing, but I'm not a chili purist. I'm not a purist on most anything.
Yeah, except for nana pudding.
But banana pudding, if you're eating the cold kind, that's not banana pudding. That's just like goop. Like it's supposed to be baked. Same thing with mac and cheese. If you're making mac and cheese, that's a holiday thing too. If you make mac and cheese, that shit's got to be baked.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, you can just do Kraft. Like what are you even doing? Like you have to bake your mac and cheese. You got to bake the banana pudding. And it has the banana pudding better damn well have a meringue on top too. That's what are you doing?
What if it's baked and then refrigerated?
Oh, well, you have to refrigerator; it'll go bad.
That's
but
what I
like
was thinking,
that's
yeah.
fine.
It's like
but,
bread pudding.
Yeah, but the original thing has to be baked.
Okay, when you said that, I was like, I don't know if I've
What
ever-
do you hate your grandmother? Like, what's wrong
Yeah.
with you? You just spitting on her grave?
Yeah.
It just needs to be
It has
baked.
to be boiling hot.
Yeah, no, I thought that's what you were saying. I was like, I don't know if I've ever had it boiling hot. It's usually kind of chilly.
What you do is you get a box of Jell-O, banana pudding, and then you just make it molten hot and just pour that down your mouth.
Put it in a fountain.
Yeah.
I'm also a
Drink it down a bottle.
we had this argument at work the other day. Is it dressing or stuffing? But I don't care what you call it. I call it dressing, but out here they call it stuffing. But I'm a purist on that too. I hate that Stouffer shit where it's got, is it rosemary they put in it or whatever that weird like thing they
Sage and
sage or
yeah.
whatever that is. That's just gross as fuck. That's like some Golden Corral type stuff. Like what are you even making?
Yeah, well, the way I've always defined it, so stuffing is that what you make with, you toast a bunch of bread and then you chop it into cubes and then you like toss it with the turkey, with the gravy, with the whatever they.
I always thought the distinction was stuffing in, dressing out.
Yeah, well, no,
That was my argument. But
no. But the thing is, like, dressing is like, to me anyway, is like cornbread dressing, where it's like
yes,
a separate
and it's
dish.
good as fuck.
It's almost like a Newtonian fluid cornbread.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you mix the crumble up the cornbread, you put the turkey broth from when you bake the turkey,
Right.
then like not lettuce, we call it celery, onion,
Yeah.
and whatever else, I got some egg, and then
Yeah,
you bake that shit, and then when you pull it out, you put it on your plate, you put the turkey giblet gravy on there,
Right.
and then that's how you do Thanksgiving. And if you're not doing that,
Right.
like
Well, my dad is from New York, so we've got both usually. Because my mom's from Alabama, dad's from Staten Island.
So he
and-
probably does something like
he
sausage or oysters.
Right,
or
it's
something.
sausage. So he calls that shit Yankee stuffing, which is where you get the bread and then it's sausage based and there's which is good, but I always the cornbread dressing, that's always my go-to. That's my like one of my favorite things. Pat killed his already. I made some pumpkin bread.
Yeah.
Speaking of some Yankee bullshit,
This pumpkin bread is delicious.
Yeah, it's very good.
I've been kind of tinkering with this recipe a little bit, especially.
You're really good with breads.
It's weird because I can do like banana bread and pumpkin bread. Like I can do breads that involve tremendous, like breads that skirt the line between bread and cake.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this bread that I made here, this is really easy to make. Like a lot of my recipes, they are just like 1950s housewife recipes where it's like just shit out of a can. And this pumpkin bread, literally you just get one of those Libby's cans of pumpkin puree, pour it in a bowl, and then 1 cup of vegetable oil, and then it calls for 3 cups of white sugar, my original recipe, but I've actually cut it down to 2 because of the other shit I'm about to tell you I put in here.
That's ominous.
Well, so it's 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, and then I always just go to Trader Joe's and get what's called pumpkin pie spice, which is a mixture of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger to make it easy. And I just put in 4 teaspoons of that.
Yeah.
And then so here's where I started.
That is a seasonal item. I want you guys to know it's not there all the time.
Oh, is it not?
No.
But,
so you have to-
but McCormick sells it. I mean, that's like a normal thing. It's
yeah,
like,
they sell it at Wally World too, I think. Yeah.
yeah. Wally World?
Walmart.
I thought you meant Wally World Encinitas.
No.
Raise some God, that song rules.
Oh man, I found some of his other stuff.
Oh yeah, his
boy.
Christian music.
Oof. So, but yeah, the original recipe is like 3 cups of white sugar, but I found something while I was just like idly. Well, I was trying to kill some time, so I was just wandering around Target, and as best I could tell, you can get this shit online or you can get it at certain Targets, but not all of them. And that is that Hershey's makes now a cinnamon chip. So it's like a chocolate chip, but it's cinnamon. And so you can see like in the side of the cake,
Oh, that's so.
I thought that was like bits of pumpkin or something.
there are these little bursts of cinnamon. And I was like, fuck, that changes everything. So
Yeah.
so instead of that cup of sugar, I just put in
chips.
I put in a cup of fucking cinnamon chips, and then you just stir that real good, and it just has these little pops of cinnamon throughout it. And then I figured as long as we're at it with the autumn sort of feel or whatever, this particular recipe calls for 2/3 a cup of water to go in there, which some people would do milk or whatever. I wanted to just kind of double down on the fallness of the whole thing, and so I got a Granny Smith apple and peeled it, cut it up, and pureed it. And replaced it with a sour apple. To kind of contrast up against the sugar a little bit. So this is a pumpkin apple cinnamon bread. This is my fall as fuck bread.
It's really, really good. I think, speaking of where we think Friendsgiving, I was really appreciative that Rivers bought, even though none of us like it, and we all specifically said we hate this. Like, we were in the grocery store, we were like, oh, that's gross, I hate it. But Rivers was like, we guess Thanksgiving we got to. And I appreciated it. He bought the canned cranberry sauce, and we put it on the table. Nobody ate it, but God damn it, it's not Thanksgiving if there's not a thing of, or jellied, like, a weird...
and it retains its can form.
Yeah, it retains the ridges from the cans, and it just sits out, and everybody comments on how they hate it, and then nobody eats it, and it just sits there, and then you throw it away. And that, damn it, is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't throw it away. It's been right on top of my leftover sandwiches all week.
So you did eat it.
Oh, I ate the shit out of it. I love some cranberry canned. There's no reason to get bougie with cranberry sauce.
The funniest thing is when you actually give someone like proper cranberry sauce that you make, like that's not in a can. It blows their minds because they're just like, "Wait a minute, what?
You mean it doesn't taste terrible?
What is this?"
Oh,
I like the canned stuff too.
I love the canned stuff,
but it's a completely different. Yeah, it's like it's you can put it on like peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah,
we I mean, obviously I work at Trader Joe's, but we had like the
this podcast is brought to you by Trader
Joe's. We had
the
plastic containers of the cranberry sauce, and obviously we sold out of it like right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and I had to tell like a lady we didn't have anymore, and I honestly thought she was going to start crying. Like it was a real touch and go.
Lady, it's not that hard of a recipe.
It's not that hard. You just get
some orange zest, get some cranberries, get you some fucking gelatin.
Sugar. You don't even need gelatin. No, you don't even need gelatin.
No.
Nah.
There's a recipe. I'll have
put
to
some walnuts in there. Yeah.
I'll have to find this. and I'll put it up on our Twitter at The Goods Pod. It's in my mom's second cookbook, actually, so it should be very easy to find. But it's what my mom refers to as the PhD recipe, because it's literally just this like crazy list of very specific ingredients. But what it is that it's like it's almost like a Jell-O mold of cranberry sauce, where it involves, like I said, gelatin, fresh cranberries, walnuts, like all this stuff, and then it is like kind of in a, she puts it into a mold that's kind of like a circular thing.
Sure.
It is unbelievable, but it transcends the thought of cranberry sauce. It's something completely different.
Yeah, I remember when one time we were talking about this on the show when Sam was here, aspics. I'm really into the idea of like making Jell-O molds that are kind of like
savory,
like McCracken's ball and Kingpin, just like a Jell-O mold but with like a whole thing in it, like a whole cheeseburger or something like that. That'd be.
What do you guys consider like
McCracken, yeah.
For like Thanksgiving and Christmas? They're pretty much in my house. It's pretty much the same meal.
Right. It's the same meal.
It's got to be the same meal. So like, what do you guys consider as like the staples? For us, it's squash casserole.
Yep.
And if that shit runs out, somebody's getting in a fight, because that, like, I don't even like squash, and it shouldn't even count as squash because it's mostly mayonnaise.
It's
I think
mostly mayo and cheese.
Yeah.
mayo and cheese. But that shit is. I mean, it's on if that goes away.
Yeah.
Sister Schubert rolls.
Oh yeah.
Sweet potato casserole. I don't like it, but I need to visually see it.
Yeah. With or without marshmallows on top.
Oh, definitely with marshmallows on top. And then you got to have your, obviously your turkey, or if it's Christmas, sometimes a ham. Your dressing.
Yeah.
Some form of potatoes. And then, like, for whatever reason in my house, this is our weird quirk. I think it's because my dad made it as we were kids. There has to be like broccoli with like a ranch white sauce.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't know why. It has nothing to do with anything, but we always have broccoli with ranch sauce, some kind of green beans.
We never really did, because my parents aren't big on like holidays or anything like that, so it would just be kind of a mixed bag of whatever we would have. Like usually it would be like if there was a good prime rib over at Publix or at Winn-Dixie or something like that, that would usually be on the menu, but it would just it's kind of a wild card, because like one time we had like ribs. So it was
that's a damn good holiday.
Yeah. But so it's one of those things where we never really had a set holiday meal. I guess occasionally we would have the classic green bean casserole. That was usually a must-have, unless I like just ate all the French fried onions out of the container ahead of time.
I always end up buying like 2 of those containers specifically so I can snack on about half
it's
of one.
horrifying. That and croutons, dude. I'll just go to town on it, and you look at the nutrition facts, and you're like, I need to go to the hospital.
This is the worst thing you can possibly eat.
Yeah, my heart is encased in salt. Just like a sarcophagus of salt. So it's interesting that you brought up segue to pumpkin.
That pumpkin bread. Yeah, anyway, you stir all that shit together, put it in a bread pan, cook it in the oven for an hour and a half, depending on, I think it's 350. And, and 4 eggs. I don't know if I mentioned, you get the 4 eggs in there.
Yeah.
Oh, and it has the added benefit of, it's like lighting a cinnamon flavored Yankee candle. Like your house smells amazing.
Yeah.
So while you're making it,
I think that's the best part of the holiday cooking. Well, I guess the food's the best part, but there's nothing like your whole house smelling amazing.
Yeah.
For like 3 days,
especially if it's like, because I go back to Alabama for the holidays, and usually the weather is not like crazy cold, but there is something about like it being chilly outside, then you walk inside and it's hot because your parents are adults and they can afford heat, 1, and 2, there's like food in the oven and stuff like that. Like there's that. It's such a great feeling.
I have a recipe to throw in.
Oh, please.
You brought up pumpkin. For me, this time of year, because it's colder, you might have to serve a lot of people. It's very heavy on stews,
Stews
so
are
for
dope.
me, chili's a stew.
Yep.
For a lot, many respects. I have one. So I was really into making African food.
Okay.
Because I'm a big fan of Ethiopian food, and I was like, I should make it myself instead of having to drive all the way to Fairfax. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of startup costs when it comes to Ethiopian food. Like you got to buy a bunch of like crazy spices, like fenugreek and all this like stuff, and then you have to get the bread. and the bread's really tough to make. I mean, so you end up having to buy it, but you can't get it everywhere.
Well, tell people like if you're unfamiliar with Ethiopian food, like the bread is basically what you use to eat the meal.
Basically you eat with your hands, but use the bread to pick it up.
Yeah.
So it's like a very spongy crepe.
Yeah.
It's made with a flour from a grain called teff, which is really small. Like the grain is extremely small. That's why when you let it set and ferment, like you would do with a sourdough bread, it bubbles. It creates that spongy texture because teff is actually so small, and it's really nutritious. Actually, like it's extremely nutritious grain. So I went into the other parts of. So I was like, oh, is there any other African food that exists? And I came across a recipe for a dish called chicken muamba, which is from Congo. So this is a crowd pleaser. I made it before. My folks actually like it.
Oh, nice.
It's not Nouvelle cuisine.
Yeah.
So check this out, because you can use some of the pumpkin. There's pumpkin in it.
Oh, okay.
So you start out and you marinate 4 leg quarters. Because you got to go dark meat, because dark meat is supreme to chicken breasts and stuff like that. That's where all the flavor is. 1 lemon, clove of garlic, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, salt and pepper, and 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, which is like, you got to have smoked paprika.
That's the king spice. Yeah, I love that shit.
You let that marinate, let it set, and then a little bit later on, you get a pan. Big on Dutch oven, so you get a Dutch oven.
Yeah.
Go 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of palm oil, red palm oil. Make sure you just get the sustainable stuff, because the cultivation of palm oil is like really like bad.
Okay.
Like that's why like orangutans are like endangered, because they just go
Jesus.
through and like just knock over entire rainforests to make palm oil farms. So get the sustainable stuff. Anyway,
are they making? Is that like palm oil?
Yeah.
Are they making that shit in Coachella? Like, is there California?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
California
palm oil.
Palm oil.
I think it's a special type, but yeah,
Okay.
go for it. Go climb a palm tree over on Crescent Heights and see what you can do.
yeah.
Just cut it down. See what part of the palm makes the oil. So you brown the chicken, take it out, and then you throw in 2 more tablespoons of palm oil, and then you brown an onion, and then you throw in a cup of pumpkin, not the canned stuff, but chunks.
Okay.
That or sweet potatoes. I go pumpkin personally. Half a can of canned tomatoes, like the 14-ounce can. Brown that a bit. Let it boil. And then you throw in a tablespoon of tomato paste, 4 bay leaves, a Scotch bonnet pepper or a habanero, deseeded, chopped up, and chicken stock. Just do enough. Just get a can of chicken stock. Do enough so that, it seems like reasonable. And then you boil it. And then you throw the chicken back in and you simmer it medium low for 45 minutes. And then when the 45 minutes is over, you throw in some okra to thick it up.
There we go.
And then you let that simmer for 15 minutes.
Jeez.
And you have this stuff rules.
Wow. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, this stuff is great. It's really easy to make. It doesn't require a lot of stuff. I mean, you just have to go to Whole Foods and get some red palm oil or wherever. And then, and you just have some sweet food that
sounds good.
Yeah, that and it's really kind of easy to make. So if you just need something, just if you have a lot of people over or whatever, you just whip that up.
That's perfect.
Yeah, good little stew.
We actually had a pumpkin related tweet come in. This is from our friend at Communist Kermit.
Yeah.
Communist spelled with a K. My grandmother once served a pumpkin soup in a bread bowl for Christmas dinner. However, she did not provide soup bowls, only dinner plates. Several uncles left that night with ruined pants. So,
Well, you can't say anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
The bread bowl is such a gimmick, dude. I don't like the bread bowl.
I mean, that's why I always call Chicago deep dish pizza. It's just marinara bread bowls.
That's true, yeah.
That's it right there. That's it right there, y'all. Now, beat 12.
I want to get in on this recipe game.
Oh yeah, hit it.
All right, so for my family, whenever we get together for like a holiday, not the actual holiday dinner, but for the holiday, we always make my aunt's lasagna, and this thing takes two. If you're being like, I do it for 3 days, but it takes 2 days to cook minimum. And so it's like partly the recipes, partly from the
2 days to make lasagna.
the sauce. The lasagna you just bake. The sauce that bitch takes all night.
It takes 2 days. You bake it turkey in a hole style, just buried under a bonfire.
You
Let
need
it run.
2 tablespoons of olive oil, 4 garlic toes, 1.5 teaspoons of basil, 1.5 teaspoons of oregano.
Oh.
1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. It has to be Contadina brand because that's the only of the American brands that like taste Italian, I guess.
Okay.
Because this is my uncle's like Sicilian recipe. 3 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce. I put like olive oil in the pan. You're going to saute garlic and olive oil over a very low heat for about 2 minutes. Then you add your basil and oregano, stir, saute for about 5 minutes. Slowly add the other ingredients in the following manner. And this shit is important because I have fucked this up so many different times. You're like, it doesn't matter. It fucking matters.
The thing that I love about a lot of, especially like Southern spaghetti recipes, is that it has to be a particular brand of things, and if it ain't, it's ruined. It has to be the true Rotel tomatoes, because if it ain't Rotel tomatoes, you're out.
It ain't gonna work. So then you get that going, and then you have to do this in this time. You have to do. It's so fucking stupid. You have to do this amount, and at this time, at this juncture, add 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste, cook for 3 minutes. Add 1 can of tomato sauce, cook 3 to 4 minutes. Add 2nd can of tomato sauce, cook 3 to 4 minutes. Add 3rd can of tomato sauce, cook 3 to 4 minutes. Add an 8-ounce can of water and cook 5 minutes. Add the 2nd can of water, cook 5 minutes.
Jesus.
Add the 3rd can of water, cook 5 minutes. Joe, it doesn't have to be that specific. Yes, the fuck it does. Cook on low heat for 2 hours. I do it a little longer. And then add the meatballs. Now, when I say meatballs, you're going to get, I get more in a pound, but you're going to at least get a pound of meat. And then you have to roll these little meatballs in your hand. And that son of a bitch takes like an hour itself because you have to do over a pound of ground beef and you're just making tiny little meatballs because you make them big, it fucks everything up. So you have to like roll up these little things. You have like a huge mound of them, like a pyramid. It's so frustrating. So then you add the meatballs, cook for at least 3 to 6 hours if you want it to taste okay. Overnight on low. What I do is for a whole most of a day and that night, and that's how it's going to really taste good. And the bitch of it is, we're in LA, we all have gas, so you have to put something under the pot between it and the fire so that it'll stay low. Because if you don't do that, it's going to stick to the bottom, and then that burnt taste permeates the whole fucking thing, and then your lasagna tastes like shit.
Oh no!
So you have to like watch this son of a bitch and stir. It's the worst. So
I want to see you cooking this, like, but with
Damn it!
it's like I turned into Joe Pesci from Home Alone. Motherfucking
Oh, so I was gonna say you'd be Ray Liotta from Goodfellas. Keep stirring, keep stirring.
Basically,
Garrett.
my mom just does it overnight, but it's better if you do it for a part of the day and then overnight. And then here's my secret that I've added to this: after you cook it for all that time, which is basically a day, then you have to leave it in the fridge overnight so that it like makes it, for whatever reason, I started noticing when I was eating it, it always tasted way better after I'd been in the fridge after I baked it. So I was like, what if I leave the sauce into the fridge overnight before I put it in the lasagna?
Yeah.
A million times better.
Is there meat in the sauce at this point? Yeah, so that's why. It's congealing.
It just somehow makes it taste that much better. Then you cook the lasagna, the noodles, like you would on the package. So basically you spray the pan with the thing with Pam, is what you're supposed to. I use butter because I'm fat. And so I'll put the butter on there. Then I put the like noodles. Online, they're like, don't put the noodles down on the bottom because it like dries the noodle out. No, you don't. No, it doesn't. So just put the noodles down first because otherwise, how the fuck are you going to get it out of the pan? It's just sauce on the. That's so stupid. And so you do that. You put the 3 things. You do it in this order with add a layer of the noodles and you add a layer of the sauce and then you dot it with mozzarella and Parmesan, the cottage cheese. And then mozzarella
cheese.
Yeah, cottage cheese, mozzarella, and Parmesan cheese. And it has to be...
Not ricotta.
No, ricotta's for ziti. Ziti is ricotta, lasagna is cottage. And then so you put the cottage, mozzarella, and like the shredded Parmesan. It can't be like the loose Parmesan. It's got to be like the long cylinder ones. You know what I'm talking about? And you do like dots of that, so when it melts, it spreads. Because if you cover the whole thing, I did this one time too. If you cover the whole thing and being like, I'm extra cheesy, it ruins everything. So you have to do the dots. And then you put another layer and just layer it up. If you're like really good like me, you can do 3 or more. But if you're like just saying fuck it, it's only like most 3. But you want to get a little extra so it's thick.
Yeah.
That's why I get a deeper pan too. And then you top the top of it with a light coating of sauce. I put cheese on top of that too. And then
Fuck yeah.
you bake that at 350 till it's bubbling.
Yeah.
And then you let it sit, because and another secret is if you cut it up too soon, it's runny and it goes everywhere and it fucks everything else.
Yeah,
So
you
have
gotta
to
let
let
it cool.
a little bit so it stays into a mess.
Yeah.
Now, when I tell you that shit is fire, oh my fucking God. The secret, the hard part of it is not the math of doing how many minutes. That's just putting the timer on. The
Right.
secret is, can you do the garlic, the basil, and the oregano in a fashion where it like retains that, because that's
Yeah,
the
it
basis.
doesn't burn.
Yeah, that's the basis of your sauce. So if
Right.
you can do that perfectly without putting too much in there, which is, I always fuck it up because I put too much because I want to stay.
yeah.
But that part is where like you need an old Italian lady, because that part is hard to get that part going. But once you do that, serve that shit. Man, I can't tell you. Like, my favorite thing in the world is doing like if I have like a girlfriend, which, you know, rare, but if I have a girlfriend, that's like a weekend long cooking date. And that
Put her to work.
Yeah,
That's
it-
why
well-
we have these things.
Well, no, you do it together because you open a bottle of wine, cook together.
There
That's
you go.
fun.
Yeah,
But
sure.
but if you can't keep a girlfriend after you make that, you're a shitty person, because that stuff is tasty. And then for the actual, I got the squash casserole recipe because I want people to realize how fat Southern people are. This is what. If in my house, Thanksgiving or Christmas, if you don't have squash casserole, somebody's getting in a fight.
You said you had a Freudian slip and almost called it fatserole.
Fatserole. I mean, this is, listen to what's in this. And this is Bama squash casserole. You need 1 pound of squash, a half stick of oleo or butter. I don't even know what oleo is, to be honest. Half stick of oleo or butter, 1 egg, a half a cup of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons chopped onion.
Wait, you know what oleo is?
It's Crisco,
it's
right?
Olean, right?
No,
Is
it's
that
not
different?
Olean.
Oh,
No,
okay,
it's-
gotcha.
I think it's.
I was just wondering how old is this
Everyone in
recipe?
the house has explosive diarrhea.
Isn't it like Crisco, right?
Yeah, it's like Crisco.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like it's like it's shortening essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
shortening, okay.
horrible for you is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like it's the same active ingredient that's in like oil bolé.
Okay.
Yeah, like the skin stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah.
dump some face cream in there.
Yeah.
Sure, why
Well,
not?
so they got the half stick of butter, oleo, 1 egg, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. Let's be honest,
Dukes.
You go a little heavy on the mayonnaise.
Gotta be
Dukes.
Dukes.
Or what's that other one that they try to copy out here, where they say like it's the blue
Best Foods.
Hellman's. Is it Hellman's or?
Well, so they're the same company. There's Hellman's
Best
on
Foods
the
out here.
Yeah, Hellman's.
yeah, Best Foods, where they have like the same thing. Yeah,
That messed me up when I moved from the West Coast to like Georgia, because it's the same jingle. It's like, bring on the best foods and bring out the and it's like, bring out the Hellmans. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Yeah, same thing. Look, Carl's Jr. has burritos and stuff. Anyways, that's
So
not
does
that's not the
Hardee's.
point.
So does Hardee's.
Really?
So out here,
They got rid of fried chicken and biscuits
Yeah.
and went to burritos. Oh, that's
They got rid of
ridiculous.
it in like the late
in
90s.
2001 when Carl's Jr. bought it.
Rivers knows the date.
I remember the exact date.
Anyways,
It was not-
You remember when
it was 9/11.
Hardee's discontinued fried chicken?
It was my 9/11.
Yeah.
okay, 2 tablespoons of chopped onion, 2 tablespoons of green pepper, 1 cup grated cheese. If you do 1 cup, you're a loser. It's got a little
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah,
Half package of cracker crumbs, and then half pack rather of cracker crumbs. and then-
That'd be Ritz.
yeah, and then
y'all.
you mix all that goodness together, bake at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes, and if you can eat that and not just feel like a completely satiated piece of shit, you're
yeah.
far better than me. But that's my 2 recipes.
Yeah.
man.
So so the holidays is all about potlucks. What is the gnarliest thing that you've ever seen somebody bring to a potluck?
Oh, my friend JB, he cooked it there where literally he was just like, he's like, I don't know how to cook, man, but I don't know. I just got a bunch of cans of shit I like. I was just gonna cook them together. And I, God love JB. He's literally one of my
So he
favorite
basically
people.
made burgoo.
He kind of made burgoo. Like it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like lima beans, Rotel. I want to say there was like a chili
Lima
situation. Like
Lima beans are the worst.
It was-
Yeah, who likes lima beans?
well, with some hot sauce and the correct preparation, I do.
Lima beans and butter beans are both disgusting.
If you're cooking them in a slow cooker with a bunch of pork meat, then they're great.
But that shouldn't count. You can cook anything with a pork fat and it's good. That's not fair.
Well, no, but
you
I'm-
could cook a T-shirt with pork fat and it'll be good eating.
No, I'm thinking specifically of my favorite restaurant back in Auburn, Panny George's Kitchen, which is where I got the appreciation.
Oh, you took
for
me
the line.
there.
That place is the shit.
That place is amazing. I feel like they do rush you a little bit, but other than that, that's good eating.
Well, we went on a Sunday. I think that was they
delicious sweet tea.
Yeah,
But
very
there's so
good
many,
sides.
like, yeah, it's
But-
like lima beans.
Well, so but
No,
what I'm
lima
saying
beans
is
are gross.
what I'm saying
Crowder
is,
peas or something.
what I'm
you know?
saying is that is the place
That's
where I got
better.
into lima beans as a concept because they were all out of all the veggies one day, and I was like, all right, I get the
I
lima
feel
beans.
like so much of Southern cuisine is just Depression era shit where they're
Yeah.
like, no, we like this. And it's like, no, you don't. You were poor. No one likes lima beans. No one likes butter beans. Like, what else? Turnip. Nobody likes turnips. Turnip greens are good. Nobody wants to fucking rutabagas.
Oh, I love
no
rutabagas.
to rutabagas.
Yeah, it's a Vienna sausage rutabaga oleo.
Olean.
Just like I got all these like Olean Lays and
Yeah.
Devil's Food snack wells in my basement.
But if I remember correctly, but all about the lima bean thing, yeah, they cook them lima beans with like ham hocks, and then you get them, and then you pour a bunch of hot sauce on them. Them shits is great.
But why wouldn't you just do greens then? Because
Well,
greens are so much superior.
for sure, yeah, absolutely. I'd never fight you on that.
Okay,
That's
so
true.
JB has
Point is, JB comes
lima
in.
beans, roast.
So we have Thanksgiving potluck over at my friend Scarlett's house. This was the year after I moved to LA.
Let me ask: did he use an A1 steak sauce base?
I don't think so. I just remember him coming in with a bunch of cans and just putting them into
like a Teflon grill.
yeah. Well, so
Now for my secret ingredient. This pulls out the A1.
well, no, we're having like
Makes
a
everything fancy.
we're having a potluck, and it was like pissing down rain outside. It was freezing, and everybody's showing up with these hot dishes that they'd cooked from their kitchen and stuff. And JB rolls in with the bag of cans, and he's like, "I'm just gonna cook it here." And so, like, in addition, like, not only was it a thing a recipe that had never existed until that moment, it was also actively taking up room in the kitchen. So people are like, "Hey, can I set this down here?" "Oh, you're cooking. Sorry."
no.
It's like, "No, man, I'm cooking a thing."
I need space for my potted meat food product.
It really was.
It's my Vienna sausage pie.
Yeah, and at the end of the night,
Potted meat food product.
At the end of the-
my favorite.
Hi,
canned
Rivers, you
food
got a food processor so I can...
at the end of the night, I saw it because everybody,
potted meat food product.
everybody ate everything else, and obviously that didn't get eaten. It was just this weird, like, I don't even think he put it on a serving dish. I think it was just a fucking saucepan full of like beans and stuff, and it didn't get touched. And I watched JB spirited away, like I was standing outside on the patio with
Now I'm
everybody.
gonna go. Bye.
Yeah. Well, no, I think he hung out. I
Masterpiece.
think he literally just took it to his car just so like he wouldn't have to.
His car smelled like that for the rest of his life. What's that smell? That's my specialty.
Just drinking out of one of those giant big gulp mugs. Yeah, it keeps you warm.
See, I was cooking dinner that night. I had to start braising the beef, pork butt, and veal shanks for the tomato sauce.
I'm gonna make them all. I'm gonna make all this meat.
It was Michael's favorite. I was making ziti with the meat gravy, and I'm planning to roast some peppers over the flames, and I was gonna put on some string beans with some olive oil and garlic, and I had some beautiful cutlets that were cut just right that I was gonna fry up before dinner just as an appetizer. All right, so I was home for about an hour. Now, my plan was to start the dinner early so Karen and I could unload the guns that Jimmy didn't want and then get the package for Lois to take to Atlanta for her trip later that
Who's
night.
been carving their initials in the tomato?
No, I kept looking out the window and I saw that the helicopter was gone.
Michael, keep an eye on the sauce, all right? Stay here with your Uncle Michael, all right? I'll see you later.
So I asked my brother Michael to watch the sauce, and Karen and I started out.
Y'all ever eaten bread in a can?
No.
That's
that a
is
thing?
nasty. Yeah, no, bread in a can is jacked up, dude. I remember one time my friend Josh got a care package, and it had all this like weird like canned foods in it, and one of it was like bread in a can, and we were just like, what do we do with this? And we opened it up, and it kind of expands when it comes out.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how,
Oh,
like-
that's not good.
yeah. So it's a
It's like the snakes.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it sponge cake?
It's kind of like sponge cake, but it like expands out, so it's a bear to get out because it comes out the top kind of like, and then you're like, all right, well, we'll take it out the bottom, and then you undo the bottom, it goes, so it just kind of bows out. Like
Okay.
kind of one of those like I forget what it's called.
And it's already
a-
like ready to go, theoretically.
bread-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
technology.
And so we were messing around with it and like having like throwing it at
Yeah.
each other. Stuff's heavy. We put a hole in the wall.
Was it still in the can?
No, we took it out of the can.
And it put a hole in the wall?
Yeah.
Imagine how that just sits in you then. Like,
Yeah.
you eat
Yeah.
the whole can. Oh, wait, if you eat a whole can of bread, you deserve bad
That's
things.
like survivalist.
I have to
food.
look this up.
Yeah, canned bread. It wasn't
Canned
something that was
bread.
made up for.
You got botulism from canned bread. That's-
wasn't something that was because I looked it up because I was.
Is that from like Civil War times?
I think it's like it's like a running gag on SpongeBob or something, but yeah, it's a for real thing, and it is
Oh.
disgusting.
B&M.
Yeah, B&M. That's what it is. Which is funny
for bowel movement.
Bowel and
because
movements.
that's what it looks like. That's because it's like brown bread, but it's not like brown bread like pumpernickel. It looks like a log,
It looks like a can.
a loaf.
Yeah, it's like crap. I love Amazon. Only 2 left in stock. That's the last 2 ever.
Yeah, yeah.
The last 2 cans of
No, if you go to like Kroger, Ralph's, or something like that, like a big one, you could probably. Oh, definitely go if you go to Walmart. It's in the same like, because they got that and like whole chicken in a can, just
Canned chicken is foul.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've eaten a bunch of that stuff.
that stuff is nasty.
It's okay if you get it. If you
There's
get,
no
You
end
know
to
what's
this
worse?
sentence. There's no way to salvage
if you
this
get-
sentence.
You know what's
Listen,
worse?
if you get-
baby food chicken,
well, yeah.
That I
stuff
believe.
is disgusting.
Because it's pureed then, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no, yeah, I'm not
we
down.
opened up a can of it, and it smelled like death in our apartment for like 3 days because we were stupid and we didn't like. We were like, we need to get rid of this abomination. We poured it down the drain because it's puree, and it just like as much as you like run the sink, it just kind of like festers.
Oh, wow.
So what you're saying is, if you have an enemy, you should just throw baby food chicken on their
Yeah, yeah,
doorstep
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
just shatter it, and then just the rest of their life's over.
Yeah, yeah.
No, the secret to canned chicken, to getting it down, is to this is good if you're if you don't
It
got
wasn't
much
3 days. It was like a day.
if you don't got too much money, you can actually get the canned chicken and stir it into those like Lipton or Rice-A-Roni packs. Like they have like the dirty rice and and the broccoli chicken rice, and then and then it's edible.
I'm
just get
just
the
not on
corned
board.
beef hash, dude, or like deviled ham.
What is deviled ham?
I don't know.
It's ham in a can.
Ham in a can. you
Yeah,
know?
it's kind of Spamish, I think.
Yeah. Spam's gotten expensive.
Yeah, with
'Cause
spam.
people found
Well,
out that like
they got
Hawaiians
all
and-
like high and mighty, like, oh, this is a good product, you should eat it. No.
yeah, it's like
no.
because people in Hawaii and Japan know how
Yeah.
to make it proper.
yeah.
My dad used to make us eat that all the time as a kid. I'd never been so mad in my life. I was like, why? The fried bologna? Sure, Dad. Fine. Let's eat the fried bologna sandwiches. But Spam and Vienna sausages, what's wrong with you?
You know what's bomb? The fried bologna, fine. Taylor's pork roll, supreme. That stuff is great.
I don't even know what that is.
I've
It's
never
like
heard
a
of
New
it.
Jersey sort of thing. It's like Taylor's pork roll. Some people call it Pac-Man ham because it looks like a slice of deli meat. It's round and you have to cut it so it doesn't like along like the hemisphere of it, like half cut, so it looks like Pac-Man. Because if you don't, it like bows up. And you can't cook it properly, so you just flip it over. And it's like a bowl that just holds fat.
This sounds so fucked up.
It's so good. Yeah.
Did you guys, Dad, have Vienna sausages, or is that just my family?
No.
To this day,
I've never eaten a Vienna sausage.
you've never eaten a Vienna sausage?
I've eaten potted meat food product, which is far worse.
I mean, Vienna sausages were a staple in my dad's. I think if I went home right now, there would still be some probably in the cabinet. And when we'd have to eat it, I would crack it open and then run it under the faucet to get that weird goopy gelatin nastiness out of there. And my dad'd be like, "What are you doing? That's the best part, man. You can't just get rid of that. What are you doing? That's what makes the flavor."
Dude, I've eaten some gnarly meat products. I've eaten pickled pig's feet.
Gross.
I've eaten Tijuana Mama sausages.
Oh yeah.
From the gas
We
station.
had a whole episode about that.
Yeah.
All right, so
But I will not touch, and which is funny because like Vienna, I think it's the goop because the thing is
goop's
that,
goat. It's disgusting.
Yeah, because Vienna sauce, like a Tijuana Mama, is essentially just a giant Vienna sausage.
Big ass Vienna sausage.
What possessed you to eat pickled pig's feet?
They were
They
there.
were there.
So this is
I was at an American Legion, and they were there.
I could tie this right back into Christmas. So to this day, when I go shopping for my dad's stocking, he wants any sort of like chiclet style gum. So you get the Eclipse gum with like the big the big pack. He doesn't like the Orbits. He likes the hard shell gum.
yeah.
So you get chiclet style gum. You go for any sort of the spiciest beef jerky that's available. I always go for that. He likes anchovies. And he
That's pretty tight.
puts them on his pizza. So that's
cool.
He's the only person in the house that'll eat that. So it's that. And then
Props to you, Bob.
motherfucking Vienna sausages. I get Vienna sausages
so
from
weird.
and I love Vienna
Gnarly.
sausage. I'm gonna put
man.
this on Twitter. You can find us at The Goods Pod.
Pervert.
This is a photo. This is from July 13th, 2012. And at the time, I was getting ready to drive my car across the country and move to California. And this is what I bought for road food. Pat, describe what you see there.
Oh my god.
That's my haul.
Jeez.
Read it out. Tell the people.
I'm surprised you're still alive. We got a value pack of 5-hour energy.
Yes, we do. Because it was a long trip.
Yeah, sure. 4 cans of Vienna sausages, 2 of them barbecue flavor,
That's even worse,
which
dog.
is heinous. 1 hot and spicy,
That's right.
That's the worst
Dinty
one.
Moore beef stew,
Yeah, that's right.
which just smells like.
Are you cooking the stew? You ate the
feet.
stew cold?
You can. That's the best part about Dinty Moore. It is. It was July.
Dinty Moore beef stew smells like feet when you
Did
cook.
you? Are you
Listen.
justifying eating
Listen.
cold canned stew
Listen.
because it was hot outside?
It's July, and what you can do. This is a great way to
You're not about to tell me you're going to leave it in the sun to warm it up. You're
This is a
disgusting.
great way to.
I cooked it on my engine block.
No, you don't even.
I was in a rest stop
I was-
outside Mesquite, Texas.
I was driving across the country. You don't even have to fuck with an engine block. I have a little hatchback that's got a little shelf in the back, and you can just put it on the shelfie, and then the sun's rays come beating in, and they warm the Dinty Moore stew to a nice room temperature.
Is this
You
the
would be
sort
like-
of thing you have to do to become an Eagle Scout? Like, enjoy this stuff? Oh, yeah, and by
Yeah.
the way, there's 3 cans of Van Camp's Beanie Weenies.
Beanie Weenies.
And
That's
one
fine.
of pork
Beanie
and
Weenies
beans.
are fine. Beanie
Yeah,
Weenies are
that's the-
fine.
that's
Beanie Weenies are fine. I mean, but the thing is like, why didn't you just get bologna, like just a pack of bologna, do bologna blowout?
Bologna blowout.
It's a Dusty Rose thing. You get you
Besides
put
the name of this episode.
you get the bologna on your hands, bologna blowout. You know?
I don't understand.
I'm assuming that means he just eats a lot
You
of
just eat a
bologna.
lot of
Yeah, that's what
bologna.
you do on the road.
Okay, all right.
Can you
Richard
just
Murdoch
imagine?
driving? I mean, bologna blowout.
I can see Dusty Rhodes like driving a car and just eating fistfuls of bologna.
Oh yeah, that's the loot right there, Joe. That's my.
I mean, this is straight up gas station stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I bought it at Walmart, so I saved even more money. They're
At
always
least at a Walmart, it's restocked. Most of the time, you go to a gas station, that stuff has been expired for years.
yeah. Those are
It's
fresh.
it's usually the stuff that like the person that owns the gas station finds in their garage.
yeah.
They're just like, yeah, I needed some survival food in case there's a disaster, but I need to restock it, but I need to sell it, so I'll just take it to the gas station and sell it.
What's funny is this is the day before my birthday.
Well, treat
what I
yourself.
was doing the day
living your hashtag best life.
Best life. That's right. I didn't even have to buy gas to get to California. I just farted my way out here.
Joe, do you have any gnarly
Potluck.
potluck entries?
one time, I mean, this isn't potluck. One time my mom got really into making bread. And she just kept making. I don't even know how this happened, but she made like 2 or 3 batches of bread where she was convinced she was using oil, and she was like, "I don't know why, Joseph. I don't know why these rolls just don't taste right." And we couldn't figure it out. It was like 3 batches in. And these things taste. These were bricks, and they tasted awful. Like you could we were throwing them around, and you could literally shatter a window with them.
Yeah.
They were hard as fuck.
Bread in a can
and we couldn't figure out why. And then we realized she'd been using white grape juice. Instead of oil, and so we were like,
"How?"
I don't know. I guess because it's the same color, and she just was not paying attention. But like, it was
It's not the same. It says which white grape juice company makes a container?
Welch's.
that
It was
looks
just
like
Welch's grape juice.
It
I
doesn't
think.
look like a Wesson container.
I don't know. I can't tell you what was going through her head. I just know those were like the hardest rolls of all time. My good friend, who's a comedian, Jared Harris, has this joke where he's talking about when his granny got dementia. She was really good at making macaroni and cheese, but when she got dementia, obviously, like the wires are getting crossed.
Yeah.
So one time she just made a dish of cheese. Like she forgot the noodles altogether. And he was like, "Granny, this is just a bowl of cheese. Like it's just a whole thing of cheese," which is still one of my favorite stories.
Yeah,
That sounds.
but it's like good.
yeah, that sounds good. I could
Yeah.
smile and politely eat a bowl of cheese to make an old woman.
So
feel
like
good.
I remember one time I went to a party and it was like a potluck and somebody, I guess it's somewhat related. They brought in what they called beer cheese.
Oh yeah, beer cheese.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So-
beer
no,
cheese
but-
is amazing.
Yeah,
if
beer
done
cheese
right.
is amazing. But this is how they made beer cheese.
Oh no.
They got like Velveeta.
Okay.
A block of Velveeta.
Oh, boy.
And then like just poured like 3 Miller Lights in it. And then put in some American cheese slices.
Oh wow, this sounds
Yeah.
disgusting.
Oh no.
And some shredded cheese. I don't know what type.
Sure. Why not?
And then the kicker was, and I don't know what made him think of this, because it's beer and cheese. They threw Molly McButter on top of it.
Wait, what?
What is Molly McButter?
It's just it's like so you get it in the spice. This is the nastiest stuff.
Oh
ever.
no!
And it was like
spice
the
aisle?
hot. It was the hot jump off of 1989. So you get in the spice aisle, and it's kind of a granulated butter.
Oh,
flavor.
butter buds.
Yeah, but it's like a butter powder.
Yeah, butter buds.
And then you just put it on popcorn
Yep.
or beer cheese if you're taking it.
Ugh.
This sounds like a doo-doo special, like where you're just going to spend the rest of your life in the bathroom.
Like somebody brought it in. It was like just this container of Nickelodeon orange stuff. And yeah, something like that. Yeah. But
I'm not in favor of this.
they came in and it was like this Nickelodeon orange stuff. And we're like, what is this? And they're just like, oh, it's beer cheese. Because I thought it was like, I knew what beer cheese was. And they were like, yeah, it's a recipe that I came across
in my travels.
which means like they just made this up.
Yeah.
And they were just like, and they had
Recipe that I
limited stuff in the house.
Came across.
So I just found anything that resembled cheese, threw 3 Miller Lights in there. And I did like that they pointed, I was like, 3 Miller Lights. And then Molly McButter, which was
Dude.
like something that I just didn't get because
Yeah.
it's like, who puts like, okay, it's like cheese, but where does the butter come into the picture?
Right.
But I mean, butter. If you're going to put butter in, but why the flaked butter? Like, why
real
that?
butter? Yeah. No, that I
Because
never
it could disperse better? I don't know.
I haven't heard
people
of-
that use garlic
What did you
powder.
call it? Molly McButter?
Molly McButter. Yeah.
So I the one that I've heard of is Butter Buds.
Any great chef has Molly McButter and Bacos in their repertoire.
The butter-
they use in every meal.
The Butter Buds when I was a kid, we put that shit on popcorn.
Yeah.
And it was really good. I'm not gonna lie, but also it's like very bad for you. I think it's just like straight
Asbestos. Yeah.
asbestos and cholesterol.
Yeah.
And but I did I work as a tour guide, and every once in a while I will have guests who have like not strange requests, but just like want to go to an American grocery store for some reason. And there was this woman from Australia who specifically wanted to go to a Walmart to buy Butter Buds
Really?
That's weird.
because they've been banned in almost every country around the world.
Is it like the dairy free like creamer that you could set it on fire or something
think
like
so,
that?
yeah.
Like it has like chlorofluorocarbons in it or something? Yeah.
Like you can still get it here, but like she was like, yeah, they stopped canning in Australia. We can't get it over there anymore. So I'm gonna buy like six or seven bottles of Butter Buds so I can take them back. I'm like, this is
And then
the
she gets
best thing
busted
ever.
by customs.
Yeah.
And then they have that case like they have at Atlanta Airport where they have like the what was captured, like, you know,
Yeah.
like a elephant's head and like
yeah. Well, this is before I had my
leaf blower or something
I
like
probably could have told. This was before I had my incident with the Tony Sacheries in Canada. Otherwise, I could have told her like, yeah, you can't take that amount of Butter Buds across
Yeah.
international borders.
Rivers is like, hold on right here. Let me tell you what I've learned.
Listen,
There is
just
no
in the-
crossing with.
Yeah, at the Perth airport, they just have a case. It's like all the things that
Yeah.
customs has seized.
You can't bring
Elephant
frog,
ivory.
You
And,
can't bring rabbits, frogs, or butter buds
Or
into
Butter
Australia.
Buds, yeah.
oh man, that stuff is like the
Butter Buds.
yeah no those are wild. They're
Where does Australia get off banning butter buds? They have a fucking fire tornado in Australia right now, and you're gonna go after butter buds.
fire buds.
Yeah.
The fire buds is what I smoke.
I love the description. Butter Buds, low-fat, dried butter granules.
Just disgusting.
Yeah,
Oy. That's
there was like a jingle from Molly McButter.
What did
Wish I
they
remember
What
it.
did they bring to dip? Because beer cheese is you're supposed to dip like pretzels and shit in beer cheese. Like what? What?
You know, they didn't go that far.
They just had.
They
goop?
just had like goop.
They just showed up with goop.
yeah, they just showed up with. Yeah.
When did everybody decide to put beer in everything too?
I
when
mean-
did that happen? Like,
Well, beer cheese is like an old German recipe.
But it's like,
it's like a
beer,
thing.
like putting beer and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I mean, there's certain things. So I put beer in the chili,
Yeah.
partially because like, you know, just the flavor of stout.
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah.
You know, but I think there's like a thing where people it's makes food extra dude. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like it's,
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the dude sort of thing.
I don't think
like,
it's sometimes
these
it's
are
out for
beer
taste.
battered onion rings.
Yeah, yeah,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He, like just kind of like makes it extra, but and it's also one of
The
those
1980s the villain guitar. Wow, wow, wow.
but it's also like a college sort of move, right? Where you're just
Definitely,
like, yeah, I
definitely.
gotta put beer in everything. So it's like I was guilty of that as anybody. Where it's just like,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
making burgers, let's put some beer in it, and then like
Dude.
the burgers would just fall apart.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
did find out the reason Dodger dogs are so good is because they soak them in beer overnight, and when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
cook them, it cooks the taste and the
Yeah,
alcohol out, but somehow it makes it amazing.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whatever.
it's
Yeah.
good for brats, but like, or hot dogs or any sort of thing like that. But yeah, it's one of those things where people just are like, you know what, you want to make this thing cool?
yeah.
Put beer in it.
I did just finish watching The Irishman, and there is a scene where
like-
De
it's like-
Niro buys a hot dog for Jimmy Hoffa, and they were like cooking it with beer. He's like, the secret is they boil it on the grill with beer. I'm like, that sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
But also, there's no reason for me to think that's great other than just like, oh, it's cool they're cooking with beer.
Yeah, it's like the whole Guy Fieri, Jack Daniels thing. Like, because they had that long sort of thing with, you know, Love Affair where people put Jack Daniels, pow, bananas.
Donkey sauce.
Yeah, but like people going heavy on putting like Jack Daniels and things.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, there was
it's like a very sort of.
there was like a 5-year period where every chain restaurant was like, you know, Jack Daniel's chicken.
Yeah, where it was a thing. It's like a very sports bar sort of thing. Where it's just like you want to get drunk off the drinks, you can get drunk off the food. You know,
Come to Applebee's, we get liquor in our food.
Jägermeister chicken.
I have two things. One, when I was working at Hungry Howie's,
Is that still a thing? Is that around still?
not out here, but they just still like
Yeah,
in Florida,
still in
and
Florida
down
and stuff,
south.
yeah.
But I was working at Hungry Howie's, and I had left a beer in my car, and it was just like a hot Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
And I
opened or un.
unopened.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know, it was just rolling around back there, and I found it. I was like, oh, you know,
Ready to explode at any moment.
yeah, straight up. And I was like, oh, and I talked to my manager. I was like, dude, let's pour it in the fucking dough. I was like, yeah, we can have like a beer flavored dough, and we did that. And you know what that tastes like? Dough. It made
Because it's
zero difference.
because it's beer.
Literally, it's liquid
water.
bread.
I mean, I used to work at Little Caesars in high school, and like if you didn't like immediately put that dough in the freezer, it just the whole place smelled like shitty beer.
yeah.
But it's so funny because it's like
Also,
that's what you.
it's
That's like such like a 18-year-old
Yeah.
move where you're just because like that right there. If you were say 14 and you found a warm can of Pabst, that's like you're going to the woods with your buddies and you're gonna have a formative experience. But yeah, when you're 18, it's just like let's put it in something.
Let's put it in the dough.
Let's put it in the dough.
Yeah. But it turns out that a 50-pound bag of flour mixed with all that water and then one 12-ounce beer doesn't
And
make
it's also
a lick of
PBR,
difference.
so it's water.
Yeah, I mean,
and
even
it's PBR.
Even
so-
if you put like it's 12 pack in there, it's,
Yeah, it wouldn't.
It's not a
Yeah,
big
I was
deal.
dumb. The second story, this is a few years before that, and this is what reminded me of it when you talked about making burgers with beer in it. Probably the grossest thing I've ever attempted to make. I don't know what the end result in my head was going to be, but we got some Carlo Rossi Burgundy.
Yeah.
Typically we'd get the sangria, but they were out of the sangria, so we got the Burgundy. At the big 4-liter mega bottle, the door stopper, and and I got a little bit of that stuff, and I was gonna make some burgers. So I had a bag of ground beef, and I was like,
the worst
oh,
idea
But it's like
ever.
one of those. But wait, when you pull that move when you were in college,
I was like 16.
Yeah,
so this
well, I
is-
mean, but
yeah.
like even when you're pre-college, but like definitely in college, and you had people over for a barbecue or something like that.
Yeah.
People thought you were hot stuff, like you were
Yeah.
a gourmet.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting booze
Yeah.
in the food.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's beer. It doesn't matter if it's tequila. It's like, we'll put some sambuca in these burgers.
Yeah,
dude.
well, I poured entirely.
Wow, Pat, you are such a gourmet.
I poured way too much shitty red wine into this bag of beef and then attempted to form it into burgers. And literally, it's just like falling apart on the grill because it's saturated with red wine.
Yeah.
And it was the little chunks of meat that I managed to get from this bag was the most disgusting thing I've ever had. But I sat there with a straight face and was like, hell yeah, dude.
It probably
Hell
tasted
yeah.
like pennies.
It did. It tasted like it tasted like I was eating, like it's what I imagine if you just ate poop. Like it was falling apart, just red wine, fat and beef molecules, and I literally
Some of that for the holidays.
no one would go near it because it was poison.
Yeah.
And I sat there and like I remember sitting in a camp chair. We were like tailgating this football game. Like Auburn is playing, like we're way the hell away from the stadium, so we can't even hear the game really.
Yeah.
We're just in the woods near-ish to the campus, theoretically tailgating. And and I sat there with a straight face, was like, this is pretty good. You guys are missing out. Who wants some seconds on my wine burgers?
My wine
burgers.
No, but it's like it's chunks.
Just like some guy.
my wine burger chunks.
These are called sloppier Joes.
The sloppiest Joes.
I try to do that stuff with
I call these sloppy chucks.
yeah. So my favorite college food thing. My buddy Mark, who was my roommate at the time, and Mark's just like hilarious. Like he's this guy that was just always had this intensity.
Yeah.
Where he would be like, "Yeah, what's up, guys?" You know, and he would
Oh, yeah,
always
yeah.
like super like he always smoked cool cigarettes, and
love
he would
that.
just do the hardest drags on his cool cigarettes. Just
Oh, one of those guys.
like one of those guys, and he
doing Dennis Leary drags on a
yeah. Which your lungs must feel great. Like that's like super air conditioning for your lungs.
Yeah.
And he was in ROTC, like junior ROTC, and he basically punked out all of his ROTC stuff. So he like cut the sleeves off and put like a Vandals patch on it or something like that.
Okay.
And I remember one time we were in the car with him and he's just like listening to, I was like sitting there and I was like, this song, he played like Ruby Soho on repeat.
Okay.
He's like, we're going to buy beer. You know, like we had to listen
right.
to Ruby Soho.
One
on
of those
repeat.
guys.
Yeah.
I get it.
And So we went to Kroger, and there was a sale on shrimp, and we didn't realize that they were headed shrimp with heads.
Okay.
And we had a little dorm room, so we couldn't like devein shrimp in the front. So in the dorm room, so we went out like in front of the dorm room where there was like a picnic table.
Yeah.
And we just like had 10 pounds of headed shrimp because we were like, this is a deal, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And we proceeded to dehead these shrimp, but Mark is just like heavy duty, just super dragging, and he's like cutting the heads off with like a hunting knife.
Okay.
And he's just wearing like sleeveless camo. He was dressed like Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
And like people would drive by and they'd look freaked out because this guy's just like got the like eyes just like wide open and just like cutting the heads off these shrimp. Just like taking a drag off violently. And then we like we were just like, what are we gonna do with all these shrimp heads? And we just like kind of threw them about. There's cats around, whatever.
Yeah, the cats.
And we made 10 pounds of shrimp in beer, of course, because this is college, and that's the best way to cook. And the whole dorm room smelled like seafood,
like a seafood market.
And like burnt beer for like easily a month.
Yeah.
We'd leave the windows open and it just penetrated the walls. And we just were sitting there with and we were just like giving shrimp away. 'Cause we had so much
In
shrimp.
the dorm. That's why I love people just walking down the hallway of the dorm. You're like, want some shrimp?
Hey, you want some
We're in the room
shrimp?
front, and it's just like we're just like, yeah, we're having a boil, and we were just like, hey, like, here, you want some? And of course, it's just like Mark still has his hunting knife just like laying on the table, and it's just like there's shrimp heads strewn all around us, and we're just like handing out free shrimp in the most kind of like perverse potluck ever.
Red wine
Hamburger.
goes to my head, makes me forget anxiety. Red wine,
Hamburger.
say red wine,
Hamburger.
red wine,
Hamburger.
red wine.
Hamburger.
One time I got really stoned and forgot I had hot dogs boiling. And
Hell yeah. And then
Nearly-
suddenly they're grilling.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hot dog turn was ash at the point I discovered it.
Holy shit.
And this was like on
Jesus
this like
Christ.
an electric stove, so the eye had turned the actual pan that I was boiling it into
an eye.
to bright red.
Yeah.
The scariest thing, because here's the little thing about that is you can't just grab that sucker off the stove because like everything about it is red hot.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have to like turn the stove off and just pray this thing doesn't catch
You're,
on
like,
fire. Like-
stoned on mids. You know?
oh yeah, this is like when I was in my 20s. So this is like dirt weed. I'm sure that I like somehow got from a friend of a scary person.
Yeah, smoking catnip.
God bless California and legal weed. I can't go back to that. Oh, one time in college, I tried to make brownies. Not special brownies, just regular brownies.
Oh, I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Like you're supposed to put a certain amount of like I think it's water, a certain amount of oil in there, and I
Yeah.
just put all oil in there.
Ooh.
And I like cooked it for the regular time, and it's still liquid in there. And I was like, well, what's going on with this? So I put it in for like more time. Ended up cooking it for like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and it would never like completely solidify. And like just kept trying, and like finally gave out, picked it up, put it on the stove, and like waited a while, and then proceeded to eat like half a pan of oil, basically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no. So listen to this podcast at half speed.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
can get all the recipes.
Yeah.
Joe's intense.
Well, so actually, I'll have you guys send those to me if they're fit to be published, and I'll put them on our Twitter at The Goods Pod. That way, people can see the recipes and stuff like that. And maybe if you cook something that we recommend here, let us know. I'd love to know. I believe. Based on what I've heard, the pumpkin bread's the easiest of those. But
The chicken mwamba is pretty easy.
Yeah?
I mean,
Okay.
what I would recommend, like, it's tough because it's making Ethiopian food at home. Actually, it's the startup costs are high.
Sure.
If you can find a place that sells injera, the bread, go to town on that because that stuff is amazing, and you can have an amazing experience at home.
Yeah, and nothing. I mean, chicken and okra and Scotch bonnet peppers.
Oh the chicken mwamba is amazing.
This chili was dope.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
Very good chili. So yeah,
I remember one of the first times I met Rivers, way back at the Unurban. On an off night of hosting,
fresh off the dusty trail and full of beanie weenies.
Exactly, just full of nitrates.
Just full of nitrates.
He told me about his chili combination of when you're having chili, you gotta have you gotta have grilled cheese sandwiches on tap and cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls, yeah.
Why cinnamon rolls?
When I was in high school, not even just high school.
Grilled cheese is sure.
From the beginning of my schooling, from K through 12, when it was chili day, doesn't matter if this was elementary school, high school, junior high, everything. When they served chili on that day, they would also have orange slices, cinnamon rolls, and grilled cheese sandwiches. And
you went to a nice school because we would just have
D-Lab slop.
Just, you know what? Call it whatever you want.
Well,
it's like you have two options. It's like in Great Muppet Caper where they have Gonzo in the crate. They have Fozzie and the crate says bear. They have Kermit and it says frog, and then Gonzo's in there and it says whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that with food, where it's just like on one side you had whatever, the other side you had cold pizza in pizza. So pick your poison.
It's just them at the
and crinkle cut fries.
It's just them at the food lab, just being like, well, I mean, the lobby of animals is way more powerful than public school children, so let's feed it to the kids.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic.
That was the combo. So whenever I do chili, I mean, frankly, this was great. I need some cinnamon rolls and some orange slices and a grilled cheese to really set that off.
I'm still thinking about the wine and the burgers.
The wine burgers.
Because he was like, Rivers was like, all the way back in high school, this is what we do. And I'm like, this is the same guy talking about making wine burgers.
Wine burgers, yeah.
Honestly, why?
Do you
why?
eat that out of a feed bag?
Why? What possessed you to think that?
I can tell you.
Just imagine him, just he has his chunk of wine burgers with the wine juice,
just
the wine
dribbling
juices.
off.
Yeah, just
gray, red.
In a Ziploc bag, and he just cuts the corner off the Ziploc bag and he squeezes it into his mouth like a Go-Gurt.
No, the Ziploc bag was that was my marination station. I believe I called it that.
God, we were everybody, but in particular, it's you're just so stupid when you're late teens, early 20s.
How are you even getting giant jugs of Carlo Rossi?
So that was our jam back in the day. We just always rolled with a lot of Carlo Rossi.
Why?
Because
it's like rubbing alcohol.
Well, so we had our Patreon episode, patreon.com/thegoodspod, where Carter and I talked about the movie Ma, which is basically a movie. It's a horror movie based on the shoulder tapping thing of kids going up to a random adult walking into a store and being like, "Hey, would you mind getting us some booze there, lady?" And then the lady kills them all, and that's
shit. Is that with the lady from Auburn?
With Octavia Spencer? Yeah.
Was it as terrible?
I loved it. Yeah, listen. Yeah, if you're out there and you're not subscribed, get subscribed and listen to it. I fucking thought it was dope. But anyway, we had a Ma. We had an adult who, no names, but basically a friend of mine's relative was just
I mean, it's been time. Name names. It's time, Rivers. It's time, Rivers. Name names.
But she
was 147 years old.
This person would just go to the store and buy these giant jugs of wine. So we just had them around, and somebody brought one to the football game. And you're asking, how does this happen? Here's how it happens. We're kids, so alcohol should be in short supply. But in this case, we had 4 gallons of the shit to drink because they would come in
alcohol.
Yeah, it would come in these these giant 4-liter jugs or whatever. And so I remember all of it. I showed up with a bag of beef to grill.
And this is the other part of the story I take issue with. Bag of beef. Like, why?
A bag of beef.
What, you can't buy a bag of beef. So did you transfer the beef to a
did.
bag?
Were you inspired by the Jackass Human Barbecue episode where they put the steaks in a bunch of Carlo Rossi?
Why?
And then put them on Johnny Knoxville?
Why did you take it out of the package?
I
and
used
put
that
it-
recipe one time when I was 18 because, it worked.
But why did you transfer the meat from the package to the bag?
I think, if I remember correctly, I stole the beef from my parents. Like they were gonna have pita bread sandwiches or fucking hamburgers or something that night, and I walked in and there was just some beef available, and so I transferred the beef from my parents, or maybe I stole it from the deep freezer. But anyway, the point is, I got it from a separate container and just put it in the Ziploc bag.
So you're just like a 16-year-old walking around with a pocket that has a bag full of beef in it, raw beef. My name's Rivers. I'm just walking around
jug
with a
of
bag of
Carlo
beef.
Rossi.
Yeah, one hand a jug of Carlo Rossi, and the other in the pocket just a bag of beef.
Just like the Otis.
Yeah,
Sounds like some sort of situation
town
that
drunk.
Otis from Andy Griffith Show would get into.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
no, I was always a guy who
Had beef in his pants.
I just rolled with like bags of meat and stuff.
John, the beef tastes better when it's in your pants.
Like, for instance, I always thought like, oh well, you got to marinate all meat, right? And so I was like, oh, well,
another young person fallacy.
oh
right
yeah,
there.
all meat is better marinated, and that includes hot dogs. So
Did you put the hot dogs in the wine too?
not in the wine. I did them in like barbecue sauce, and I'm pretty sure. Maybe like some sort of alcohol from parents' liquor cabinet, probably tequila or something.
Peach schnapps.
Yeah, but anyway,
So
there's
barbecue sauce and tequila.
I used to roll around. I'll put this on Twitter.
Oh, God.
I used to roll around. I had some bags of beef for my
Oh my god!
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
For one, you must put this picture on Twitter.
I'm gonna
you must.
at the Good Spot.
It doesn't even look like you.
That's the holidays gift from us.
And you're so proud
To
of
you.
it.
Oh yeah.
And it's literally just hot dogs sitting in barbecue
Yes,
sauce.
it is. Yes, it is. I was a gourmand. I was the next Wolfgang Puck right there.
Yeah.
I was the next Bobby Flay.
I just don't understand any of this.
There is an alternate timeline where I was the one who made up donkey sauce.
So in one pocket, hot dogs and barbecue sauce. Other
Yeah.
pocket, bag of wine meat.
Bag of beef and wine.
Oh, wow.
That's what they say. Joe, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Instagram and Twitter as Joe MFRAINES. Follow me so I don't look like a scary stepdad spying on his kids.
Do it. Pat, you got anything to plug?
Nope.
And yeah, get into college and then you can meet Pat in real life.
Yeah.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley, and you can find the show Facebook.com/TheGoodsPod. We're on Twitter at TheGoodsPod. Every episode ever, YouTube.com/TheGoodsPod. Got some new clips up there too, so I might turn Weinbergers into a clip. Who knows?
Yeah.
Go up to YouTube.com/TheGoodsPod and check us out there. And of course, the best way to support this show, Patreon.com/TheGoodsPod. $5 a month gets you a
It's the
brand.
gift that keeps on giving.
It really is. You can give it to a loved one for the holidays too.
Yeah.
Sign them up, and that'll get you a bonus episode every single week. Bunch of fun ones this month. I think I'm going to be speaking to Ed Greer on a bonus ep. I know me and Joe K are taking a trip to the record store. We're going to Record Parlor.
All right.
Pick up some dumbass records and listen to those.
That'll be awesome.
We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So Patreon.com/TheGoodsPod. Of course, also you get a shout out on the show from a celebrity, either Bam Margera or Ray Liotta or any of the.
How much do they have to give for you to mail them some wine beef?
Oh, beef wine, yeah. Oh, that's free. Just give me your address. I'll just send you some
beef
Weinbergies.
You'll get a
Some wine burger.
if you get a shout out from Ric Flair, and you'll also get
There we go. Yeah,
Weinbergers.
Weinbergies.
Weinbergies.
But yeah, and the second best way to support this podcast is to go to Apple Podcasts. And Pat, what do they do when they get there?
rate, review, Woo! And subscribe. It shows the attitude of gratitude, and you better do it.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, fuck you. Happy holidays.
Hamburger.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.